Welcome back. Iran and Israel have been exchanging attacks overnight, but the real question is now, how will Iran respond to U.S. airstrikes over the weekend? Doug Luzader has more from Washington this morning, where President Trump is preparing to meet with his national security team at the White House. Doug, good morning.
Good morning. And the president this morning on social media is already kind of warning the world not to let oil prices go up. That is just one potential result of this attack on Iran. One by one, U.S. B-2 bombers touched down back at their home base in Missouri, following 30-hour-plus round-trip bombing runs on Iran that could forever change the Middle East.
Final battle damage will take some time.
Over the weekend, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff was cautiously optimistic about the impact of the 14 massive bunker-buster bombs that were dropped on the Iranian nuclear facility at Fordo. And while before and after photos can't show how deep the damage is, President Trump wrote on Truth Social, the biggest damage took place far below ground level. Bullseye.
Our view has been very clear that we don't want a regime change.
The vice president and other administration officials say the U.S. is not seeking now to topple the Iranian government. But the president left the door open, posting, "It's not politically correct to use the term regime change, but if the current Iranian regime is unable to make Iran great again, why wouldn't there be a regime change?" And on Capitol Hill, where support for the attack falls mostly along party lines, there will be questions this week over whether the president exceeded his authority, bypassing Congress for authorization.
America was lied into a war in 2002 against Iraq with a Republican administration giving us false information about Iraq's weapons program. I have grave concern that we're going down the same path.
And back to this question of regime change very quickly. The administration was pretty disciplined through most of the weekend to say that this was not a push for regime change in Iran. And then we had the message from the president kind of opening the door to potential regime change in Iran. Now the White House this morning, the White House press secretary is saying that the president's posture has not changed, simply suggesting that it may be up to the Iranian people to kind of push through a regime change. Dina.
And Doug, what does it look like if the president says if the supreme leader is not ready to make Iran great again, then there might be a regime change? What if clearly it seems like diplomacy was not an option? That's why we did what we did, right? But now they're saying maybe there's some room for negotiation.
Well, the Secretary of State in particular was saying that Iran can come back to the negotiating table. Iran is saying that they don't think that the U.S. was really interested in diplomacy all along. Of course, the U.S. has said the same thing about Iran.
All right, what do we look for as far as, you know, we're all hungry for information as far as our safety, the safety of our troops, how much damage was actually done? Did we leave a lasting impact on their nuclear program? So will we get some of those answers, do you think, today?
Well, these are no doubt going to be critical questions at this national security meeting at the White House today. Some of this may not be knowable at this point, in particular the damage that really occurred as a result of these strikes. So they think the regime's nuclear program has been set back. Was it completely destroyed? It's difficult to make that kind of assessment when you're really striking an underground facility. As far as what Iran can really do in response, their military has been degraded significantly through all of these strikes from Israeli forces, but they still have the ability to potentially attack U.S. forces, U.S. bases in that region. They could have sleeper cells, try to carry out terror attacks, all of this leading up to this warning from the State Department for Americans who are overseas right now to be extra vigilant.
Yeah, scary times. All right. Doug Luzader, thank you so much, as always.
Thank you.